Hey everybody, Matt Hunkler here with Powder Keg, and I apologize for running a couple minutes late. Obviously, with the 20 plus sessions we've already had today, we've got a lot of stuff going on. But I'm so excited because I have my friend Reuben Harris here, CEO and co-founder of Career Karma. He's done amazing things with plugging people into amazing career opportunities in tech. With everything that he has done in growing and scaling a community, with everything he has done in moving education and specifically tech education forward, I think there's a lot of ground we can cover. So I want to just dive right in and welcome my friend Reuben Harris to the stage. Reuben, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Are you in San Francisco today, or are you
I'm
elsewhere?
in the Bay Area.
Right on,
I'm
man.
still in the Bay Area. Yeah,
Now,
man.
I've seen you traveling out to Miami quite a bit lately. Are you
Yeah.
contemplating a move or an office open down there?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of work in Miami. I wouldn't. I think there's a lot. It's important for me to be there because there's a lot of founders and venture capital firms that are moving out there. And my sister's in Florida as well. My cousins are in Florida, and you can see all these headlines, but I think what concerns me is the people that live there and that are from there don't know about these opportunities and how to get these opportunities, or they see the headlines, but they're like, "How do I become a part of this?" It's kind of like a different world. And 35%, half of Miami is making $35,000 a year and susceptible to automation, working in service jobs. And if we don't allow them to participate or expose them to the opportunities, they're going to be pushed out of their own homes, and we don't want that to happen. So I would say my focus is more on that versus like having a nice house on the beach to kick my feet up.
I know it. I definitely know it. I appreciate the clarification, and I love everything that you're doing to help make that possible for everyone. And the opportunity is something, obviously, your company is focused on helping people plug into. Can you kind of quantify the opportunity, or at least paint us a picture of the big shift that you're seeing in tech and why you decided to start Career Karma?
There's over 9,000 boot camps, trade schools, colleges, and universities that exist. And choosing a school is very difficult for people because all of these schools have various outcomes. Historically, people just focus on getting a degree or a certificate, but the problem is we currently have about 2 million certificates there, and a certificate or degree in the US, a certificate or degree does not guarantee a job anymore. Mm-hmm. So a successful outcome for people is now, did this training program get me a job, period. And for an individual, the wrong decision has a high cost of failure, right? Even for a trade school, the cost is about $10,000 to $50,000. At the shortest, it'll take you 3 months to complete, 3 to 12 months to complete to make a successful career transition. And then if you choose wrong, that has a high cost. If you already have student loans, if you have kids, if you have family, so that's something to think about. And then if you think about it on a broader scale, there's 3 billion people that are in the workforce, and 2 billion of them are blue collar. And if those 2 billion people are in jobs that be destroyed because of technology, but on the bright side, there's new jobs that are going to be created, and they need to figure out which training program is best for them. That's gonna be key. Last year, COVID-19 hit us like a nuclear bomb, and the only thing that really was left standing was technology. And it's great that we have all these vaccines, and it seems like things are going to open up the rest of the year. But there was 55 million people that filed for unemployment last year. And even right now, I'm not going to get into political conversation, but states are cutting unemployment benefits, right? And so it's really important to figure out how to help these people get back on their feet. For perspective, there's about 20 million people a year that go to like colleges and trade schools and things like that. But again, the outcomes vary. And so, Career Karma is focused on uh, positioning itself as the easiest way to find a job training program online that is effective. And not only will we recommend the best training program for you based off of your specific goals and needs, we will surround you by peers, coaches, and mentors that will support you during the program and during the job search. And then connect you to our network of over 2,000 companies to help you find a job as well. Hold on, I got to grab my charger before it dies. Give me 1 second. I can still hear you though. Sorry.
You're good, man. You're good. Well, I love that we're talking about this because literally one of our keynotes after lunch is Scott Jones, inventor of voicemail, founder of Grace Note, and also founder of the nonprofit coding academy, 1150 Academy. And so we'll be talking specifically about some of those numbers of how many people that they have retrained, gotten back into the workforce. And I know that's the type of academy that you're connecting these people to. And that community piece that you point out, I know you said it quickly, but seems like a really important differentiator of having the peers and the mentors and the coaches to help them through the beyond just the technical training, having that support. What have you seen with your community base? How have they benefited from having those peers, coaches, and mentors?
That is the most important part. I think something else that's concerning to me is like with a lot of these bailouts, and again, not to get too political or even just like a lot of these approaches to workforce development, people throw billions of dollars at education alone, but education alone doesn't get you employment, right? There's like huge dollars that are going to effective training programs, but what we really need to be figuring out is how to give people this like psychological support. Like if you point people, you can point people to the best path for them. You can give them the best training content, the best teachers, the right mentors or whatever. But if they don't have the confidence in themselves, then it's not going to work. And we've seen that. In the beginning, we started a podcast called Breaking Into Startups that reached millions of people and helped people really understand what was going on. Like our lead investor for Career Karma was a guy named Gary Tan. He tweeted something recently that said, "Stories move the heart, data moves the brain. You need both to move humans." Right? And Career Karma the podcast was a story, right? Moving the heart. Data alone moves some people. I wouldn't say most people. And then stories move the other, and then there's a combination of both. And I think about it a lot, very similar to like a workout plan. Like everybody wants to get healthy, right? Everybody wants to live long. Well, maybe not everybody, but like everybody wants to like be fit, right? And I could give you a gym membership for free and a workout and a personal trainer for free. It could be like in your same building, and most people wouldn't go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to decide that like this is what you're gonna do, right? And make that move. And so I think that with that in mind, helping people understand the gravity of not making a decision is very important. I think college has done a very good the American dream historically, and I'm not anti-college. I'm a college graduate. I think that college is going to evolve, and you can see that with you mentioned 1150, which is great, but you see like SNHU just acquired Kenzie Academy, which is also in Indiana. So that's a partnership. You see Thinkful partnering with different schools, and like Butler University partnering with different training programs and things like that. So I think that that's going to continue to happen. But even with college, people are not fully completing or taking 6 years to graduate, and 41% of people are underemployed when they graduate. And part of that is because they don't have access to network. They don't realize that the job search is a sales process, right? The way that you tell your story, the way that you communicate the projects that you built, all that matters way more than what you've learned.
I couldn't agree more. I'm glad you're talking about it here. I'm glad you're helping share that message more broadly as well, just because I think more people need to know that. In terms, you talk about this decision and deciding to commit. Is there anything that Career Karma does, or that you do when you're working with one of the people going through an academy? I know you're probably a lot more hands-on in the early days than you are now as things have scaled up. But I'm curious what kinds of things help move people to that decision point and get them to make the leap.
Yeah. So when you think about building a community with people, I think what's very important in the beginning is market segmentation. And so we segment our community in three categories. One of them is the ready applicant, so people that like they know the career path that they want. They a few schools, and they just need to like validation that they made the right decision based off of their own research. Then you have people that are like informed explorers. So these are people that they know what career path they want to do, or they know the career paths that exist, like design or data science or software engineering, but they need help choosing a training program that's best for the career path that they're interested in, or the need that they have, whether they don't have great credit or whether they're a veteran or whatever. Then you have curious explorers, which I would argue is the most of the world, where they have no idea what's going on. They don't know the jobs that exist. They just know that people in tech get money, and that if they don't, in bigger than money, people in tech are not going to lose their jobs because they've embraced this like this always be learning mindset, and they know how to adapt and interact in any environment, and they want some of that, right? So those are like the three categories. With that said, to your point, even if you segment them, you have to figure out how to activate them. And what we pinpoint with these different segments is what is that individual's shared struggle. So how do I put moms with other moms? How do I put dads with other dads? How do I put musicians with other musicians? And so on and so forth. There are people that have shared location or shared interests. How do I put the Atlanta people with Atlanta people, or or the Falcons fans with Falcons fans, right? Like that type of thing builds chemistry way more actually than just putting people in by interest from a career perspective. It's kind of like going to a bar and being like in Indiana and finding Atlanta people, right? It's like, oh wow, like you're from Atlanta, that's crazy. Or like moving to the Bay Area for the first time and finding Miami people, or moving to Miami and finding San Francisco people. Like it makes people like when you see these headlines when we talked about Miami, feel like, oh, it feels like San Francisco in the 90s, right? Why are people saying that? Because like it reminds them of something. It's nostalgic, and it kind of like gives you this feeling of like, oh wow, like I can do it too, right? This city can do it too, right? And that's why that fuels them to go harder and harder and harder to continue doubling down on this tweet that the mayor tweeted, which was, how can I help, right? And going back to Career Karma, once we recommend a training program for you, everybody's assigned with a coach that is currently enrolled in a program that can give them credibility. You can do that straight from our website, or you could download the app. But more importantly, once you start reading and exposing yourself to different things, we immerse you into a community. It feels kind of like turning on Twitch and being in a gaming or an environment full of gamers. We have these live audio rooms, which is kind of like Discord and Clubhouse having a baby focus on careers, where you can listen to people that are currently enrolled in programs, or people that are employed, or directly from companies that are hiring for apprenticeships. So no matter what stage of your career, if you're in the job search and you want to talk directly to companies, you can talk to engineers that are employed that will set you up for an interview. If you are currently in a program and you're struggling and you feel like dropping out, but you need answers to your questions and nobody in your school can answer it, you get access to a broad community of people that can answer the questions for you, and so on and so forth. And so voice is intimate, just like video. Video is powerful, but I think voice is very special. I mean, you're a podcaster, so you know this. And we leverage like voice, video, and text in order to give people that psychological support that they need.
I love that. And I love what you're doing with your communities. The fact that you kind of saw what was happening. Well, and this is me putting my own perspective on it. I saw what was happening with Clubhouse, and obviously Clubhouse taking off, huge audience growth there, huge opportunities to plug into other communities, but then to bring that environment into a more intimate space, which in a lot of ways is kind of what we're doing here with Hop In for Powder Keg Gun Valley. You have this curated group of people who have that shared common interest or that shared common pain point to have those discussions. And so I've loved watching what you're doing. Oh gosh, I'm about to kick my camera over here.
All good. I mean, like you said, I mean, Zoom paved the way. They're like the app for the pandemic, and then Happen recognized that people were like coming together, and like in the last 3 years, you know, they've built something quickly that's focused on organizing people in communities through video. And like you said, like video is the medium, just like audio is the medium. And now you see like Spotify acquiring Locker Room, which is an audio group focused on sports spaces. So I think social audio is going to be a big thing for networks, period. And it'll be interesting to see how things evolve. It's easier to create, especially in this creator economy. And so the reason why I think about it a lot is, you know, our roots are in podcasting. Before that, I was in radio. But it goes all the way back to our ancestors and like tribal days, and how and traditions were passed through story and folklore. You know, songs of triumph were sung through hymns, right? So anyway, I'm not gonna get that deep, but anyway.
No, let's go deep. We got the time, man. I see people in the chat here saying that sounds exactly what I need right now. Wonderful information about Career Karma. I had no idea. Super glad to plug in. Might be a good time to tell people in the chat, shout out where you're from. Just very relevant to what we were just talking about. Shout out where you're from. If you have a question for Ruben, we got about 10 minutes left. So use that Q&A feature there to ask your question of Ruben. But I would love to go deeper, man. I mean, we've got the time. We're there. I think it's in our DNA as humans to create that tribal connection and to share stories. And that was all traditionally done verbally. And the Career Karma story right now is impressive. What I wanted to ask is a deeper question, which is 5 years out. What do you see Career Karma? What will the story be that people tell 5 years from now?
So, you know, just to continue on that point, right? Asking yourself what the purpose of technology is really important. The purpose of technology is, in my opinion, is to give people a voice, the power to create, and the power to organize, right? So going back to voice, right? You know, I think a single voice is powerful, but a collective voice is even more powerful, right? If we can get a big group of people to speak, it goes from one person complaining or preaching to a movement, right? That inspires others or that changes things. And there's a lot of good things that are happening right now, and there's a lot of bad things that are happening. And so I think giving people a voice, a collective voice, people is one of the most important things. When you think about things 5 years out, right? If we can give even let's say 1,000 people a voice, right? And the ability to create with code and the ability to organize. Let's say they all know each other and they've decided to gather in a random town, and they all are employed, making $100,000 a year. That's $100 million a year that they actually control, right?
Yeah.
And they know each other. Let's say that this group of 1,000 people also agrees to create a fund for their group, and they donate 10% of it. This sounds very cultish, but like a church, right? Now you have like 10 million a year and the ability to create. Like, you've created independence. So, like, you actually don't have to and giving you handouts anymore, whether it's philanthropy, whether it's government, whether it's the church, whether it's anything. Like, build a society with that. Was I don't think that our society has reached equal opportunity yet. However, because of systemic issues related to race and religion and sex and things like that. However, if access to the internet, like a laptop, access to the internet, and these skills, that's as close to equal opportunity that you're going to get. And going back to voice, boot camps, part of the reason why we focus on boot camps is because it's the first rapid reskilling model at scale that traditional education players are copying, like trade schools and college. However, we're also seeing go hard with like Coursera going public. You're seeing cohort-based courses with people like Wes, and I forgot the name of the company, I think it's Maven. Cohort-based courses taken off, but who I think is going to be the biggest educator in the future is actually the individual, right? Because like you know a lot of things, right? So like if the individual can just teach whatever they know to people and leverage platforms like Try Virtually, that's big. Like I grew up as a musician. I've been playing cello for almost 30. Well, it'll be 30 years in October. And something that I used to watch all the time to learn how to make beats when I wanted to get in the studio was beat producing videos, right? And you're starting to see even on Twitch, like people like showing how they play a game, and people starting to show tutorials on how they do different things. YouTube is probably the biggest educator in the world right now, right? I think that's going to continue to happen, and platforms are going to exist so that you see people making a great living off of platforms like Substack. I think that the crypto and the DeFi community are going to actually be a fact type of thing. And so Karma, you could think about Career Karma kind of like an index on the future of work, where like come and go, colleges come and go, different types of education platforms come and go forever, so that no matter what exists, we can point people to the right platforms or the right institutions that are speaking for the people and supporting the people and getting people. So that's my my spiel on that.
I love that vision, and it's clear how much you prioritize community, which I think is just a common thread throughout this entire conference. We've obviously got mutual friends, Greg Eisenberg and David Spinks, talking tomorrow specifically about community. But this community that you've created, Ruben, at Career Karma is amazing. And the way that you're democratizing and making these programs accessible to more people is amazing. It's an amazing opportunity for everybody. For the people that are listening right now who are either plugged into tech or looking to plug into tech, how can they help support you and what you're building at Career Karma?
Yeah, if you are listening to this show or this and you want to break into tech, I will go to careerkarma.com/apply, APPLY. That's going to be the fastest way for us to recommend the training programs for you. I would request information from 2 to 4 schools just so you can get a sense of what they have to offer, and then our coaches will be able to speak with you about if you are not in that position but you know somebody that wants to break into tech, then I would recommend that you tell them to go to careerkarma.com/apply. If you don't feel like you're ready to apply to a school or get information, I would just lurk in our audio room. So I would download the Career Karma app, and go to careerkarma.com/events so that you can actually speak with people and listen to people and ask questions. Um, it's okay to be skeptical, right? That's actually a very good thing. Um, come with questions, talk to people. It's possible the people there in the community aren't just sharing information and preaching the gospel. They literally want to help you, and they can't help you if you don't ask for help. So make sure that if you're in there, that you don't just stay quiet like a fly on the wall. Like, ask the hard questions, because it benefits everybody if you do that. So that's my advice. And eventually, those audio rooms won't just be on the phone; it'll be on the web. But for now, just make sure you have the app and you're on the computer.
And last question before you go. What do you think is the biggest opportunity in the Unvalley right now in areas outside of traditional tech hubs like SF, Boston, or New York?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity in the Unvalley is exactly what I just said. Is like figuring out a way for you to not just pursue this career path by yourself, but with other people, right? Let me tell you why that's a big opportunity. So, Career Karma was in Y Combinator's Winter 19 batch. And for the people that don't know what Y Combinator is, which I would argue most people in the world don't know what it is, it's the world's largest tech accelerator that's created over 300 billion in value since over the last 16 years. And companies like Airbnb and Stripe and Dropbox and DoorDash all came through. But that, I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 companies total are the ones that like created all of that value, right? So using that same example that I was telling you about, with helping people get the jobs that they want and make $100,000 a year and have the ability to create and organize. If you organize 10,000 people or 5,000 people, which actually isn't that hard to do in the Unvalley, you can create your own ecosystem similar to like what's happening in Miami and in other places, right? So I would argue that we live in the best time in history to build power for the have-nots, or for other, or I think have-nots is a little extreme, but just to build power, period. And so I would encourage you to start adopting a mindset of collaboration over competition and figure out how we can go far, not just alone, but together.
I love that, Ruben. I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for being here and sharing some of the Career Karma story. We'll definitely be linking up here in the chat and in the main event reception chat to plug into Career Karma. Have a great rest of the day, and thanks for making time for us today.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Peace.
All right, Powder Keg, after lunch, so 1 p.m. Eastern, talk about why he moved the headquarters from Silicon Valley to Indianapolis in the mighty middle. A lot of recent acquisitions, amazing growth story there. Amin Brar, who is the CEO at JobVite, has been a member of the Powder Keg community for a long, long time. I'm really excited to share that with you. And then we'll be jumping from that session right into a keynote with Scott Jones, the founder of 1150. So some lunch, plug into the expo, go mingle in the reception, maybe try out that networking feature there on the left. It's a lot of fun. Try that out. It looks like that right there, the networking feature. Click that networking feature to get connected with folks. And we'll see you this afternoon in about an hour, less than an hour. We'll kick off our next keynote at 1 p.m. Eastern. See you there.